The best table tennis serve is very individual for every single player. So here I give you inspiration and we learn you 10 different table tennis serves to help you to win more matches. And we start out with the most common table tennis serve by pros, the Pendulum Serve. It works like this. You stand up so you have your non-racket foot in front of you, and then you need to rotate your body and make sure to end up behind the ball with your racket. To create the side spin, you need to swing your arm at the same time as you rotate your body, and in the ball hit, kick with the wrist. So it looks something like this. When you make the pendulum serve, you always have side spin, but you can decide yourself how much backspin you want, how much topspin you want, or neither of them. So if you are straight behind the ball and just go against your opponent, you will make side spin. If you go a little bit under the ball or a little bit downwards when you make the movement, you will get backspin. And if you kick your wrist a little bit upwards, you will create side topspin. This is how it looks when you make side spin. This is how it looks when you make side spin with backspin. And finally, this is how it looks when you make the pendulum serve with side spin, topspin. And we move on to the backhand serve. And the one who is most famous for his backhand serves is Dmitry Ovchadov. And when you make it, it looks like this. So how to make the backhand serve? It's very important to make sure to be able to rotate your body and your arm. So you need to move the power and spin from the side where you don't have your racket to the side where you have it. And the basic is of course what you do with your arm. You push your elbow a bit forward and you drag it to the side. But the elbow enough doesn't give you enough of quality and consistency here. So you need to do the same with your body. So you drag your arm and your hip, I will say. And you can do it extremely, like you see with Ovchadov here, and really, really turn up your body and spin it. But it's very difficult, so if you want to start, you can stand more straight and just turn up and do it. And of course, to create some extra spin or to decide which spin, you use the wrist in the ball hit. And it works the same as in the pendulum serve. You can go just at the side of the ball to create side spin. You can go under it to create backspin. And you can also kick your wrist upwards to create topspin. So it's the wrist who creates or decide the spin, but it's the body and the arm who is the base of the movement. And in slow motion, the service looks something like this. Serve number 3, the signum for the last year's French champion Alexis Lebrun, the Windshield wiper serve. A very special serve, not many people use it, especially not on higher level, but if you really master it, you will have a big advantage since it's so rare, and you can see it on Alexis. So when you make this serve, just as the name, it's important to move your arm like a windshield wiper. So you go from the outside, you use your arm to make, it's like a rainbow, to the other side. It's extremely important to be deep down when you make this. If you're not very young and short, of course you will stand correct, but otherwise you need to make sure to come down. You go out with your arm and you use it as a rainbow to the other side. It's important to not move your elbow because it's the arm who do the work. The spin in this serve depends on which part of the movement you hit the ball. So if you hit it on the way up, you will create topspin. And if you hit it on the way down in the end of the movement, you will create backspin. So it's a very good thing that you can always do the same movement. It will make it hard for your opponent's brain to understand that it's different kind of spins. You always do the same kind of movement, but you just hit the ball on different parts of it. And this is how the serve looks in slow motion. And we have arrived to a serve I have spent endless of hours on. A flat, really, really fast service. And here it's extremely important to get your body to move because your arm will never, okay, that's over exaggerated. So as I say in many other serves, your non-racket foot, step forward, so you can rotate your body. And then with the arm, you don't want to make a big swing because then it's very obvious that you're going to serve fast. Just make a short, fast kick with your arm. On this serve, as in every fast long serve you make, it's extremely important to take the ball very, very low and to make the first bounce really close to the edge on your side. This is to make sure that you can make as fast serves as possible without the ball going too far, because if it's high and you make fast, it will go too far, or to bounce into the net if it hit close to the net. And also, of course, if it's really fast and bounce far away, you will not be able to make it dive down in time. So you do it at the same time with your hip and a short movement with your arm. When you make this serve, it's very, very important that you have a short ball contact, because a long contact will create a lot of spin. You don't want any spin here. You just want it to be as surprising and fast as possible. And this is how the serve looks in slow motion. We have arrived to serve number 5. Probably the serve in the world who is the best to fool your opponent with the spin. The scoop serve. And the expert of this serve is Per Gedell, who have humiliated hundreds of opponents with his scoop serve. I'm definitely one of them. I don't know how many times I missed it when we played, and yeah, this is how to do it. So as always, make sure that you can rotate your body by having your non-racket foot in front, and then you have your racket angled like this, so your arm points out from your body, not down as in some serves, but just straight out. The biceps a bit down and the racket out. And then you will make sure to rotate all of your body to create a circle with it. And then the hiding part is what you do with your wrist. I like that if you go in one direction, you should end up in the other one. So for example, if you want to make backspin, you rotate and hit the ball slightly downwards fast and then kick up so it looks like topspin. And the opposite for the topspin serve. You rotate, make a fast short kick upwards and then down. Of course, it's a little problem if you always do this because you have two different angles, so your opponent can learn. So I will say, with the scoop serve, play and try a lot of different things what suits you to hide the spin for your opponent. And of course, you can also decide to just create pure side spin with it. You don't always have to go down or up when you make it. And this is an example of how the scoop serve can look in slow motion. Before the next serve, I just want you to know that if you want my help to develop more as a table tennis player, you can join my school community. You will find the link down in the description, and I know that you won't regret it. Time for a serve that's very common by amateur players, but very rare on the top level. The Tomahawk. That it's rare on the top level doesn't mean that it's not effective, and we can see it on example Kenta Matsudaira, we can see it on Ding Ning, players in world class who do it with big effect. And when you make the Tomahawk serve, it's important to get down, because you want the racket in your head's height. So that might be a reason why many players don't do it, because you need to go really deep down to hit the ball low over the table. And then you want to swing the arm like an axe. In Swedish we call it the axe serve, but okay, in English you say the Tomahawk. So you go back with it on behind your head even and swing it down while you're really deep in your legs. It works a bit the same as the windshield wiper serve. You decide the spin on the ball by in which part of the movement you hit it. So if you hit it early, you will hit it on the way up and create topspin. If you hit it late, you will hit it on the way down and create backspin. I like to make this serve also just with pure side spin. And when I want to make it pure side spin, instead of going really down with it, you can make sure that the racket stops in a direction where it points straight from you. And when you make the swing, it's of course important that you do it with your arm, but also with your wrist, because it's always the combination arm and wrist who creates the most spin. So the faster you accelerate with your arm and then kick it with your wrist in the ball hit, the more spin you will create. When you make the Tomahawk serve, you have both your feet just beside each other, and then you just sit down as deep as possible in your legs. And this is how the Tomahawk serve looks in slow motion. And of course, now when we talk about Ding Ning and the Tomahawk Serve, we need to talk about the Reversed Tomahawk Serve, a service I never in my life made in a game. It works pretty similar. You go down in your legs, you need to be really deep, so you want your racket in the height of your head, and you want to swing it like an axe, with the simple difference that you need to hit the ball on the other side. This can be a very good serve to really fool your opponent. Because you can start the movement exactly the same. You go down, you make the swing as an axe, but then just in the last second, you change, so you hit with your backhand serve on the side of the ball that's close to your body. But otherwise it works the same. You swing your arm like an axe, you kick with your wrist in the ball hit, and you decide which spin you make by which part of the movement you hit the ball. And I'm definitely not an expert in this serve, but I will say that it looks something like this in slow motion. So make sure to make it look as the same movement as when you do the Tomahawk Serve, just like I try to make it look similar here. And you can see the difference between them now. The next service was very common back in the days by many Chinese players, and today we have, for example, Thiago Apollonia, who have his own take on it. And it's a pure backspin, no spin service. Something that can be very hard to read for the opponent. It's not the most effective serve always to win directly on the point, but it can give you a good chance to attack on the next ball, and it's a good weapon to make it difficult for your opponent to banana flick, which is very popular today, because when you banana flick, you often take help from the side spin to grip the ball. So to make this backspin / no spin serve, you want to once again non-racket foot front, then you want the racket pretty flat. You don't want to create any side spin, you want it flat. You rotate your body and you kick your wrist. Okay, the important part is how to make the spin and how to make the no spin. To make the spin, you kick your wrist just before you hit the ball, and if you want a little bit of spin, which can be very good in this serve, because if you want to make it as hard as possible to see, you do it with an angle like this and just go straight under the ball or even a little bit downwards. And to create no spin, you can, for example, do the exactly same, but you make the acceleration with your wrist just after the ball hits. So you make the same movement, but you accelerate after you hit the ball. If you want extreme backspin in this service, it's important that you hit under the ball, but then also turn up your hand behind it, because it will create a lot of more rotation on it. And it looks something like this in slow motion. Time to learn you the serve that most people consider to be the most difficult serve to make in the world that's used on the world stage. Do you agree? Or which service do you think is the most difficult serve to make? Please let me know in the comments. Okay, so the reverse pendulum serve. How do we make it? We stand up in the service position like we talked about many times before. In this serve, we lift up the elbow so we can have the racket straight down, pointing downwards. And the reason for this is that we want to be able to swing it forward. We want to swing it like this. It doesn't need to be forward, it can be against your opponent, but to swing it. So you swing your arm and your wrist against your body when you make the reverse pendulum serve. So the most important tips are basically up with your elbow, swing your arm and swing your wrist. You can decide yourself, do it from your body like this, or against your opponent if you want to create, for example, backspin like this. But it is possible to create the backspin by pointing the racket from yourself too. And to show you the serve really clear with the details, here it is in slow motion. The last serve, and this is a bonus one, because I will never recommend you to use it in match, but it's very fun. The world's fastest table tennis serve, or as I call it, the Asuka Sakai serve, because that is the player I first saw use it. Stand up like you are going to do a forehand topspin. You move your arm against the ball, and you need a lot of acceleration for this one, and you kick the arm and the wrist over the ball, so you hit with your backhand side. Here, you really need to hit the ball low, because you will have a lot of speed. You need to create a lot of spin, so to make it as fast as possible, you need to make sure to hit it low and make it bounce early. And since it's the world's fastest serve, you need to use every part of your body and every trick you can to make it as fast as possible. So your arm with a lot of acceleration is of course not enough. You need to rotate your body really fast too. Just like if you did a forehand smash or a forehand topspin, but instead to make the serve with your backhand serve, with the backhand side. And of course, you need to be very, very relaxed, because if you are stiff here, you can never get the same acceleration and you can never get the spin you need for the ball to dive down in this speed. Here is an example of me trying to make it. If you're more interested in developing your serve, how to make it short, how to make it fast, how to create different placements, how to create different spins, this is the perfect video for you.